Really sad news yesterday that one of my all-time favourite wrestlers, Sabu, has abruptly passed away. I got into wrestling when a friend showed me SVR 2008, which was Sabu's only WWE game appearance where his innovative moveset was adapted perfectly into the game's hardcore setting. Since this was my first wrestling game, the universe and lore of pro wrestling was also new to me, but after hearing reference in the game to a barbed wire match between Sabu and the legendary Terry Funk, led me down my first rabbit hole of discovering an art form that only the slightly unhinged could understand. And so that's why I've always had such a soft spot for Sabu, because nobody moved around the ring like him, nobody gave their bodies to entertain more, and he's a big reason why I fell in love with all of this madness. But SmackDown vs. Raw was not his only virtual appearance. In fact, he made his video game debut all the way back in December of 1994 with Fire Pro Wrestling Special on the Super Famicom, and would continue as a mainstay throughout the franchise's storied history, spanning multiple console generations. And while the hard exterior can turn some away, the technical engine under the hood, so to speak, represents the hard-working style Sabu honed during those formative years in Japan. His first step into the 3D squared circle would be as a part of Virtual Pro Wrestling for the PlayStation, better known globally as WCW vs. the World, in the debut of what would become the legendary Aki wrestling engine of No Mercy fame. But while the code was still in its infancy here, it was still great to see such an iconic figure of the industry represented. Then with the boom of ECW and arguably the man's most iconic portfolio through the mid to late 90s, ECW Hardcore Revolution, while poorly received, encouraged the endangering behaviour you'd expect from any Sabu match, with barbed wire and blood, facing off against some of his best opponents. While this series was short-lived, developer Acclaim maintained the death-defying Maniac as a mainstay in their Legends of Wrestling trilogy, alongside his uncle, the original Sheik, for some nasty and bloody brawls. And following a guest spot in the infamous Backyard Wrestling games, which was a perfect match for the Arabian Facebuster, Sabu's gaming appearances didn't end with SVR 08, as the man was always an easy wrestler to create for yourself in any game, as tribute to the fact that you never know where the man might just turn up to put somebody through a table. A storied career spanning 40 years that can be traced along the scars of his body, literally tearing himself apart for our entertainment, and a pixelated history worthy of such a hardcore icon.